appreciate your service and your time to the party. So thank you so much. And I'll turn it over to you now.
Thank you very, very much. And yes, Sandy and I attended a lot of I think we attended every one of the Lincoln Day dinners except for one because it was held the very same night as another one. So it's been a fun race. It's been exciting. And I'd just like to say that I'm honored to presently serve as the chairman of the PUC, and hopefully I will continue to be a commissioner when we get the results of the election, hopefully this year sometime. This is not going to be a typical election speech because I'm amazed at the sometimes insane positions that socialists have taken. I don't want to throw a lot of bricks or rocks or anything, but I'm going to be provocative in a minute. But first, thank you for the faith that you have placed in me and for all you've done to make South Dakota a wonderful state and the United States a magnificent country. I also wish to publicly thank Sandy and our entire family for the real hardships they have had to face while I have been in public office. I love you all so incredibly much. My major opponent, Ramey William Beautiful Bald Eagle, and I have significant differences of opinions on some issues. However, personally speaking directly to Ramey tonight, thank you, Ramey, for running a clean campaign. That was a pretty fancy highway sign you designed and some other things. I wish you and your family the very, very best. Okay, let's get through it. There's trouble in River City. Whether we win or lose this election, this is not the end of the strife in our country. Socialists are not just knocking on the door, they are in your house, breaking the furniture and trying to start your house on fire. There's a lot of upheaval in the world today, and we work to make our country a better place. We need to be certain we do not throw away the good with the bad. Socialists control the Democrat Party and have ideas that lack common sense, at least on the national level. Frankly, many are just crazy ideas. Completely open borders. Imagine the flood of people from throughout the entire world entering the United States on open borders. Eliminate Homeland Security and let the terrorists all come in. Take away the right to bear arms. The Democrats' answer to innocent people being shot and killed by criminals is to take guns away from innocent people. We do not make criminals less dangerous by taking away the constitutional right for innocent people to protect themselves. If that right can be taken away, then any constitutional right can be taken away. Defund police. Democrats' answer to criminals throwing rocks, destroying property, and looting, is to get rid of the police. So do we want to do what criminals want us to do? Demilitarize the police so criminals will be better armed than our police. Police innocent people would become more defenseless. Our neighborhoods become more dangerous. Pacification does not work against terrorist nations, and it does not work against domestic criminals. Socialist Democrats want to destroy free enterprise and replace it with bureaucratic, socialistic government controls. Destroy free enterprise, and we destroy our economy. Margaret Thatcher was right when she said the problem with socialism is you eventually run out of other people's money. When Democrats lost the election 4 years ago, they chanted, "He's not my president." They rioted, looted, and destroyed property. Now, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have the gall to make an issue that the Republicans must provide peaceful transition. Hey, socialists, the Democrats, we were not the ones burning down cities because Trump was elected. You were. Democrats' answer to people becoming too dependent upon welfare is to increase the amount of welfare by trillions of dollars. Why is Social Security always begging for funding, but there's always enough money for another subsidy or socialist welfare idea? Democrats support abortion on demand, even partial birth abortion, but they oppose the death penalty for even the most horrifying murderers. They insist on freedom of speech, no matter how offensive, even to burn the US flag and destroy statues and monuments. But they prohibit our free speech by shouting people down and will beat an elderly person just simply for wearing a MAGA hat. abolish the electoral college so that most liberal states will totally rule a country. Their absurd premise that nationalism is bad. We became a strong nation because we were united as a nation. The socialist method of madness is supported by violence, destruction, and threats. Their campaign is run on the fuels of hatred, lies, and intimidation. Socialists try to buy elections by making promises that they cannot keep. Free healthcare, $24 trillion. Free college tuition, $2 trillion. Free childcare, $2 trillion. The Green New Deal, $16 trillion. Socialists continue to divide us into hate-filled groups, women against men. Remember Obama's claim of the war on women? Race against race, old against young, religious against agnostic, gay against straight, one percenters against everyone else. If you say anything, a socialist can find a way to be offended. If we segregate into racial, religious, and clan groups, we destroy our society. A tremendous challenge is misinformation, bias, selfishness, and self-imposed ignorance. Violence and intimidation have supplanted meaningful discussion, caused disintegration of society, and losses of respect for common discourse and consideration of facts. Deliberate misinformation has created hatred and alienation, and this insanity has to stop, or else the next two generations will suffer under socialism until democracy is revived. We need to have each other's back and stand up and speak up for justice. Where is our Martin Luther King, our Abraham Lincoln, our faith in God and country? Where is our respect for our fellow human being? Where is our Walter Cronkite, whom we can trust to tell us the true facts on the news without bias? On a national level, Republicans have abandoned the high ground and allowed socialists to take over public perception. And the entire Democrat Party has capitulated to socialists' most absurd positions. We need to stop being so timid. We need to generate a vigorous defense and enthusiastic offense every day, not just every 2 years. We have allowed Democrats to label us as racists when in fact Republicans have done tremendous good for and with and are welcoming to minorities. We have allowed Democrats to label us as anti-environmentalists because we continue to argue about climate change. Stop arguing about it. It does not matter who wins the argument. It's a distraction. It only serves the purpose of allowing Democrats to create and to perpetuate the image that we are ignorant and uncaring. The fact is, nearly 70% of South Dakota's electric capacity is renewable energy. And don't confuse environmentalists with enviro-terrorists. Every year in North America alone, we burn nearly enough natural gas to create a tower with a 1 mile square footprint, 170 miles high every year. We also burn enough petroleum to circle the earth in 50-gallon drums 114 times every year. Fossil fuels are finite. When they're burned, they're gone forever. We have a responsibility to pass this wonderful inheritance called Earth on to future generations in a better condition than it was gifted to us. This country is moving to renewable energy, and we must not allow the Democrats to provoke us into the climate change debate. Instead, show our support for responsible renewable energy, or we will be left behind like an old newspaper. Millions of Hispanics have become citizens of the U.S., and they are searching for and hungry for government participation and political leadership. Every one of them should be a Republican. They have the same hopes and dreams and convictions and desires for free enterprise as Republicans. And they chose to escape socialism when they became citizens of the U.S. Why would they become socialists by joining the Democrat Party? With the power of the Hispanic vote, the Republican Party will be an irresistible force. And what about the black vote? The Democrats have taken them for granted and pooped in their pockets for decades. The Republican Party's policies have done a great deal for black families, including higher employment and prosperity. Social Security may be the only financial support many people will have for retirement and to keep them from becoming homeless. And yet hardly a word was spoken spoken during this election about it, except the Democrats wanted to expand it by $1.4 trillion and make it even less financially sound. Congress has been malfeasant in providing the necessary funding formula to make it solvent. China is buying American businesses. They have purchased billions of dollars in energy and agricultural companies' stock. We are working in many areas for China in their companies in America. Stop selling the store to foreign governments. I have a passion for solving problems and making government work better. I believe all families deserve to have an excellent quality of life with the least intrusion from government. Socialists do not believe in our democratic way of life or our republic. God bless and God save the U.S. And thank you again for all that you do for our wonderful republic.
Thank you so much, Gary.